Sometimes I feel like the chosen one. I am the one, the chosen son. You know my body ain't no run it up. Too many chains can't keep them tucked. Sometimes I feel like the chosen one.
Hey, welcome to Stutter podcast hosted by me, Nino Alfred, where we talk about sports, shoes, fashion, music, and many more depending on which guests we have on the podcast. But today, on the first episode of Stutter podcast, we are going to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, music, and maybe some sports. My first guest, I've known him for about 6-7 years, all the way back from community college days, and we hoop. One of my homies for life, he goes by the name of Michael Denzel. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, y'all? This is Michael Denzel. Like you said, 6-7 years strong. I used to dunk on him a lot. It was fun.
That's cap. That's a lot of cap right there. You've been advocate on your social media about the whole Black Lives Matter movement. You want to elaborate and continue how everything's been going on, and what you think about it, etc.
For me personally, and I think for a lot of people actually, it started off with a lot of emotions, just anger, disappointment, sadness, and then, people started getting involved and people started speaking out, and social media became this huge advocate, and some celebrities were talking, and it just started, bringing a lot of excitement. So you just have all these, commotion of emotions going on. And for me, I just didn't even know how to respond. I make music and I just had nothing to say at the time. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to pause and have to really stun at this whole reality. And I love the fact that we are moving towards a change, that things are changing, that more and more people with social influence are actually coming out and speaking and, trying to lead the people. And we're all just unifying. So I think it definitely was a horrible situation to go through, but I think it's going to help us progress as a people.
I like how you brought that up because, I hope it does progress. But then I come back to the things that happened in the past. Like, with the whole Rosa Parks situation, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, just everything. It's just too much to count, right?
Mm.
And all those tragedies, whatever you want to say about that, did it make things better? It made things better a little bit, but it didn't progress to where we were back to slavery days.
Right.
We still live in a world where we're supposed to be free, but are we really free?
Right.
Because, like I said, if it didn't work, if MLK didn't, if MLK's speech or whatever didn't bring everyone together, then how would today's situation bring everyone together?
I think that when things were going on at MLK time, there's, more so blacks fighting for blacks. Now, within these last couple of weeks, we've seen that now the world is fighting for blacks, and they're fighting for equality. I keep hearing all lives matter, Black lives matter. Obviously, we all matter, but right now, Black lives are the ones that's being stripped of us.
But why does it have to happen when a tragedy happens?
And that's the thing. Like, it shouldn't have to. It should have already been, we should have already been past this. I feel like the next step in the evolution is accepting everybody for everybody, But because we weren't past this, because we have so much, education and so much, justice systems and all these things that were put in place at a time when, segregation was huge and slavery was still going on, and we just never looked back to revise them or change them or just completely get rid of them. Now we just have to deal with the consequences of that, not going back and, revamping the way that the educational system is set up. Not realizing that, blacks lost a long time ago. We were slaves. Mm-hmm. So whoever wrote history did not write it in the favor of blacks. So that's why you get things like the great composer Beethoven. he was really black, but they portray him as white. You know, that's why you get things like that, is because the people who wrote history did not have our favor, you know, and it should never take a tragedy to get people to wake up and for us to open up this way. But my thing is this: we can never forget the past, we can never forgive the past, but we can move toward a better future, because after all, isn't, you know, our children and their children, isn't that what should be priority, you know, making a good life for them?
See, I like how you brought that up, because I feel like when you involve children, right? See, here's why I feel like racism isn't ever going to go away, because you still got people from the early 1900s still alive who raised their children to be the exact same way, and then you got people that those children that were raised by their parents continue to generation to not like minorities, not like blacks, just be all white. And it's like, I feel like regardless, a lot of people's true colors came out during this whole tragedy. A lot of people's true colors. So did everyone's true colors come out? No, we don't know. There's millions of races out there, but it's going to always happen because people are being raised to treat other people a certain way, marry a certain way, be just whatever towards certain people. And that's why I feel like, even though I love the social media everyone's doing, I love what everyone's trying to do, it's just, I don't think this situation is just going to get buried under the rug. I think it's always going to be there, especially right now. But at some point, people are going to just be like, well, another tragedy is probably going to happen. And then once another tragedy happens, it's going to bring back to what we are right now. And it's like, well, shit, we went from progressing kind of to taking 10 steps back. And then it's like, will we ever progress? Like I said, when it comes to the MLK situation, we were progressing. And then we took 10 steps back. All the other situations we were progressing took 10 steps back. And it's just, in my opinion, racism is just gonna be there for who knows how long, and that's disappointing. Yeah. But like I said earlier, we live in a country where it's about the land of the free, but people don't feel free. Not everyone feels free, and you know, we're supposed to be the land of opportunity. Do we really have that opportunity? Or
I agree. I definitely.
Or is it for a certain race opportunity, or you have certain, like, you do certain things to get to that point. If you have to act a different way or not being yourself, like, it's just, I don't like it, and I hate it for me too, because I'm mixed. So I'm all for Black Lives Movement, like regardless. Like, even though I'm half white, they see the color of my skin.
Yeah. And
it doesn't matter. In their eyes, I'm a minority. I'm black, and I'm already 10 steps behind someone that's full white. And that's why, I live in Walnut Creek. You know what I'm saying? I live in a neighborhood where, to be honest with you, it's kind of racist, a little bit. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but just Walnut Creek it's majority white. Yeah. So I've been going through that for 14 years. So I would say that I'm used to that type of stuff, but I mean, I don't feel comfortable, and if I'm gonna live in the land of free, should I be comfortable?
Yeah, you definitely should. I mean, nobody should be robbed of their freedom. I feel like, as far as going to like the kids, you know, you're right. As long as somebody's, you know, teaching their kids that A, B, and C matter, but not D, there's always going to be some kind of discrimination, racism. You see that with, you know, racism. You see that with, you know, gays, trans, whatever. You know, it's just so many people just don't accept. And I don't know if it's strictly like a jealousy thing. I don't know if it's a insecure, or if it's like just like a power trip thing. But I do know that when it comes to racism, some people would not know what to do if it wasn't for their privilege. So they want to hold on to that privilege because in a way it's their survival instinct. And then I also know that some people just don't know that there's a better way. And it's obvious to us because we grew up with like diversity, living in the Bay Area, you know what I mean, in California alone. So we know that there's, another way. But other people, you go down south, they still marvel at the fact that, oh wow, that's a black man, oh wow, his skin is like chocolate. That's crazy to me. They still get wowed over that, and it's just like they're ignorant to the fact that we do have the same blood. We do, we can have a simple, civil, loving conversation, intellectual conversation, and be dope to each other. But as far as like, racism being gone, I don't think it'll ever be gone. I think that, you're always going to have that one person who just does not like somebody else simply because of their skin. And what I've been seeing, especially on like social media and just like in my experience, is a lot of people use racism as kind of like a failsafe. And let's say, I'm talking to this white guy who's a racist, but he's closeted, right? And then maybe I'm doing better than him, or maybe, I outsmart him somehow. Not that I would ever mean to, but let's just say it happened. He's gonna end up being racist towards me because he know that he can't do anything else to me but be racist. And because of that whole, my privilege, and all I have to do is call the cops as my little security guards and they'll come protect me persona or attitude mentality, that gives him the confidence. He thinks that he has an army behind him now. And it's just like, when you get all of those together, you have a very dangerous racist because they're willing to call the cops for a man giving a fake $20 bill and they'll kill him. You know what I mean? And that's just where like the devastation comes into play, because it's just like, dude, you really can't accept me because of the color of my skin. Like let's just take a look at that alone, like the color of my skin. I mean, placement in the world can explain the color, the pigmentation. Swedes are more likely to be lighter skinned because they live in the colder climate. Africans are more likely to be darker skinned because we live in a hotter climate. It just makes sense. But the fact that, a lot of people can't accept a lot of people for their individuality and, their culture and their traditions and just who they are, religion or whatever, that shit, it's mind blowing. It's like when I go somewhere and people can't understand why I'm so dark, It's like, damn, can't we all just get along, And then you think about what Spike Lee would always say, do the right thing, Why can't we just, pick into our morality and just do the right thing towards each other? Okay, maybe you're racist, but the betterment of the world needs you to bury that shit and move forward with your life. Because one day you're going to need somebody of another race. One day you're going to need us. Nobody in America could have got anywhere without each other. Simple as that. We would not be as far as a civilization if it wasn't for that. The fucking monkey wrench, that term comes from an old boxer, Jack Johnson, first black heavyweight of the world, way back when when they had the fighting and stuff. And he created the wrench, and then it got twisted into a little racist, monkey wrench. You know what I mean? Because he's a monkey, because he's black, And I'm just like, fuck. They can make fun of, him all they want. But if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have a fucking wrench. Can you think of how many things, like, we need a wrench for? This dresser, the car, So it's like, he definitely, when you think about it like that, people of color, people of non-color, they automatically play into the life that we live. And freedom sounds amazing. I'd love to be able to live in the suburbs and not be stopped. And, hey, do you live here? Yeah, I bought this house cash. Like, I live here. But even in my neighborhood in Concord, it's kind of a suburby. They still stop me. They still go, oh, wait, are you from here? Or where are you from? Or something like that. Nah, bro, I'm your neighbor. I've been your neighbor for about 2 years now. Like, what do you mean? But, my skin will always have that persona, just that he can't be successful. He can't be, unless he's dribbling the ball, unless he's on the beat, unless, he's a cop, then he has value. A politician, then he has value. But, he's just a regular guy who, let's say I did mechanics, or let's say I, did drywall for a living. Oh, he just does that. He's just a regular guy. He's nobody. He's a black guy. No, I'm a man. That's what I am. If you look at me and you see a black man, first of all, thank you. I'm proud to be black.
Yeah.
But when I look at people, I don't see like, oh yeah, that's an Asian man. That's a man. That's a woman.
Right.
That persona of what race they are comes in after I've already established that this is a human being, individual, and whether or not they believe this or believe that, I respect them. And then the persona of, okay, he's a black individual, he's a black human being, he's a green, blue, whatever human being. I think that freedom is never going to come. I think that no matter what, we're always going to have to fight, because there's so many different variations to society, and we just can't get them all. I think that we will always have racism, strictly because there will always be haters. There's always going to be some kind of haters. So, and then that whole seed of racism is already planted, deep-rooted into so many people, and that they're putting that seed into so many other people, and it's crazy. I think about the Confederate flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I see a Confederate flag and I see the United States flag, and I'm just like, time out. Weren't they fighting against each other at one point, and didn't the Confederates lose?
Yeah.
Like, the Confederates celebrate that L so hard with that flag. It's like, you lost. Like, okay, you're racist and you lost. Like, that's all you're showing me, is that, you're behind. You're not as far along as everybody else, that you're not willing to be a part of a society that wants better for the future. Like, that's all you're showing me. So,
and it doesn't help that we have a president that's racist.
man,
He's supposed to be the leader of our country,
right?
and he's out here saying all this stuff about the Black Lives Matter movement, all that type of stuff. He's very blunt. I mean, that's the one thing I like about Trump. He's very blunt.
Yeah.
He says what he wants to say.
Yeah.
But is it the smartest thing to say?
No.
He puts us. He's supposed to be protecting our country, but then he's doing all this stuff with other countries, and it's like, come on, man.
I love that about Trump. It's like you said, he's blunt. Because what I can't stand is when you find out that somebody, who's been there for hella long is racist, then you're just like, whoa, bro, I feel like you've been lying to me this whole time.
Yeah.
But then you see a racist and he comes out, hey, I'm racist, or I don't like you. I can respect that person. I don't like that person. I even hate the person maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I can respect you because you have the balls to tell me that. Now I know how to carry myself around you.
Yeah.
Trump, same way. And what's funny is Trump will never say that he's racist.
No.
But he is one of the most racist people. And people will defend the black people, who just don't know any better. They will defend him and say that he's not racist. And I'm just like, this whole movement, he has not once talked about the inequality of black people. He has nonstop talked about the looting and blamed black people.
Right.
He has nonstop talked about, how he said killing of George Floyd was a tragedy. That's all he spoke on the matter. And it's like, that right there is basically dismissing the thing, dismissing the argument. You touch on it because you want to let, people know that you touched on it, but then you dismiss it and you pretend like there's something else bigger than, what's bigger than fucking freedom, or freedom for your people that you're leading. And that's why like, I till this day would tell people like, Obama's still my president. And not that Obama had the greatest run in office,
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like anybody for the last, whatever years just can't have a great run in office because they have to go back and redo all the bullshit that's been done.
Right.
But what Obama did was bigger than his presidency. And what I mean by that is he tore down racial barriers, one, because he was the first black man. that right there gave minorities everywhere hope.
Right.
You know, that let them say, wow, I can be anything now because this guy did it. And not just this guy, he's black. And not just black. Black people have been the most disrespected throughout history by this nation. But here we have a black man leading this nation. I can do that. I have a friend of mine, he's Spanish. He said that. He's like, I feel like I can do anything now because Obama's there. Yeah. That's one thing Obama did. Another thing is, you look at all the tragedies that he's had to do, even with those school shootings and this and that. He's handled those with so much poise, and he kept the nation calm. You know, yes, maybe there's 1 or 2 riots. I get that, you know, for whatever reason. But when there's like a big situation that went on, he addressed it in a calm and loving manner with a solution. Hug your loved ones. You know, don't take it out on the streets. Just hold closer to those people you love. You know, he makes you feel a sense of gracefulness and thankfulness. And I'm not like meaning to compare, but you have to compare president to president. You look at Trump's leadership, chaos. You know, he's antagonizing it. He's literally still making jokes in these stressful, tough times. And it kills all respect for him as a man, as a leader. And that's why I see a lot of people say Obama's still my president, because even when Obama addressed that and he sent that letter out and he addressed the situation, it came out how you feel like a leader's supposed to. Like, that's how I feel if my dad would talk to me, or like my oldest brother, if I needed his advice, that's how he would talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we look towards people like that, is because they hold so much weight in their words, and they do it with a very well-spoken and well-thought-out charisma that you cannot help but to love and just to listen. You know, and that right there, that's where you destroy discrimination. That's where you destroy racism. And that's where you lead your nation into something better. You know, all people should be free. No matter who you are, no matter what. Won't always happen, but you need people in place who wants that to happen. LeBron, look at LeBron. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's like, you know, speaking out like crazy, you know. Mm-hmm. But what he is doing is he's not, you know, lashing out. He's not being an idiot about his position, you know. And I'm sure he's having those conversations with his family and friends and whatnot. But him posting a picture that says equality or we're tired, that right there speaks volumes. And I was getting mad at him at first because he wasn't saying nothing. And this is a guy that, one, we've built his platform. Fans do that. And then two, he just holds so much weight, especially among the black community. Like, you need that person to say something. And when he said equality, and I said it on his shirt, or when they wore those I Can't Breathe shirts, that's where I was just like, they stand with us. You know, but contracts and families come into play, and they can't really speak out the way they want to, the way they should, and that's understandable. You know, take care of your family, take care of yourself, make sure, you know, your hustle is still there, but just don't turn your back on us. That's where I have the issue. And Donald Trump, he turned his back on us a long time ago.
I'm glad you went down that route because we can get a little bit into sports about that.
You see Kyrie.
What's funny is that, you know, in the sports world, you know, not every sport, but most sport has a lot of African Americans like playing it.
Yeah.
You know, mostly basketball and football, and who knows, like, you know, a little. I'm not saying baseball, but, you know, baseball's starting to get there. But you would think that the people that watch sports, you know, that love sports, you know, you would think that, like, you're watching a game that's predominantly African American, and then it's like you're rooting for the team, but like, are you caring about the players? Because these players, you know, that are wanting to win championships, win games, and put their bodies on the line just to, you know, obviously get money, but then to please their fans and do something for your city. And it's like, they're out there doing that for you guys, whether they don't know if you're racist or not, but they're doing that for you guys. And so it's like, are those racist people, are they rooting for the team, or do they? I mean, because most owners, are white. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So like, and there's been plenty of racist white owners, but it's just like how these players are doing everything. Now, and that's why I get what Kyrie's trying to say. He's trying to protest not playing Orlando and start your own league. I get it. But while he has a point, there's also people in the NBA who are going to go to play Orlando, who are able to play these games. Their life is playing basketball. They're not getting checks. They're not LeBron, Kyrie, KD, where they got millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars where they can chill for the rest of their life. And you still got people that are at the end of the bench who are going off check to check. So Kyrie saying that he thinks that people shouldn't be playing in these games to show a point that we need to make America equal again is like, I get your point, but it's like, is protesting the NBA gonna make things better?
Actually, it's crazy. I think protesting NBA and NFL, those two alone. Then you have baseball and all these other ones. But those two alone. Let's talk about NFL and NBA. I think that most players would protest.
They want to protest.
Yeah. And I think most players would, including the white or non-black ones, because those players love they're players. They love their teammates.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have those guys who like you said, they don't make a lot of money, this and that, and then that's where I would expect it to be on the leadership of not the owner per se, but the LeBron on the team, where he has that means and access to not necessarily take care of them, but help them out. You know what I mean? Dude, I'll fly you out there. I got the money, you don't. I know that. I'll fly you out here. Or, you know what I mean? And I feel like if that protest were to happen with the NBA alone, then we will definitely see some sort of... I think if they protested the NBA and said, we won't play another game until all four of those officers were arrested without bail, George Floyd's killers, arrested without bail, I think they would have been arrested the very next day. I think that the same thing with football. You hear it all the time. America loves their sports,
Right.
Take away sports, the entertainment, something's gonna happen to the country. One black great passed away in January, and the whole world stopped.
Right.
So if he was black and he did that to the world, imagine what every player not playing could do to a nation. We'll see a lot of fucking reforming and change and all that good stuff that we've been calling for. But it's a gamble, like you said. It's like, do I risk my career? Do I risk my, safety net of making my money and playing to do this? Or do I just keep my head down and, keep going with it? I was with Mo last night, and Mo actually said something. He said like, I post here and there, but he admitted that, I'm not, crazy knowledgeable, but I'm willing to learn. And he said, I'm not going to sit here and post because, one, it's all Instagram. So like the credibility of a lot of that could be subject to, compromise. And then two, it's just like you have people in place for that. And then we started talking and we brought that to a machine. The tire on the car can only be a tire. It cannot be an engine. The windshield on the car can only be the windshield. It cannot be you know what I mean? And so you take that into like these kind of situations now and you think about it, you're just like, There's people who are supposed to be spreading the awareness. There's people who are supposed to be doing things in society. There's judges who are supposed to only be judges, and they're supposed to be the best judge at their job. There's a president who's supposed to be the president. He's supposed to be the best president at, you know. And so you think about the whole athletes part. In a way it contradicts, in a way it doesn't. So athletes are more than athletes, they say. But for a minute, when it first started, the protests, we weren't seeing that much. All we were seeing was athletes. All they knew was basketball. And I kind of got mad at that. Then I had to take a step back, and I bring it back to what Mo was saying. They don't need to speak because there's already people speaking. You know, their main focus for years was just, I gotta stay in shape, basketball, study film, this and that and that. So they didn't have time to learn all this other stuff about the world and whatnot. Not say that they were ignorant of it or they just didn't know, but they weren't as invested into that as they were, you know, their ability to play and things like that. So we can't expect them to, you know, be putting out all this information and leading the charge like that. Yes, with their influence, we want them to lead the charge. Keep things positive. Maybe just say something to calm the public. You know, that's how you lead your charge as an athlete. Don't play in Florida. You know, don't go back to work until this stuff. That's how you lead the charge. But as far as speaking on it, we don't need you to speak on it. You know, because we don't want you to say the wrong thing. Especially if you don't have any, you know, experience with racism at a, you know, moderate level or a high level. You know, those you know, the black conservatives from like towns where they grew up with whites, and you know, they have no idea about what being black is about. You know, because you can be black, but you cannot be black. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you need people who understand what it means to be black. You know, you need people who understand what it means to be not assaulted, but abused by the police, by the justice system, by, you know, the segregation allegations and whatnot. You need that, and those are the people you want leading the charge. And a lot of athletes, that's not it. You know, I think right now the best voice that athletes have is not playing.
But do you think what LeBron said, that he thinks he can provide, like, not entertainment, but provide a, like, I can't think of the word, but provide, like, movement or, you know, not through playing? Yeah, do you think that he can do that?
No, not at all. Fuck no. I think that it'll be very selfish to take eyes off of what's happening right now. I think that, especially if you want to go play basketball and you think that it's gonna, you know, okay, this is how we keep the people calm, and this is how I call bullshit one, and I'll say, why don't you try using your words? Why don't you try saying, hey, everybody, be calm. Make one post about that. See how many likes you get. See how many people comment saying, I needed to hear that. You know, that will speak more volumes than you would playing games. Because guess what? More people see your post than see your game. You know what I mean? More people are listening to you on YouTube and listening to your interview than they are watching you play basketball. And to be honest, basketball, I've watched it my whole life. It doesn't take me away from reality. I get, you know, excited and, you know, involved into it, but that's not what basketball is for me. It's strictly entertainment. It's fun to watch. That's it. But then when that turns off, I still got to go back to reality. And then I think about it, and watching this basketball game did nothing for me. Watching this football game did nothing for me but entertain me for that 2 hours that it was on. What I need is, you know, a leader to tell me when I'm angry. I said in the beginning how, in the beginning I was just all these emotions and I was stunned. You know, and I got unstunned when Obama, who's a leader, a natural leader, when he put that letter out and I read the whole thing. And I was just like, it gave me a sense of peace. It gave me a sense of, okay, we're in this fight. Let's think, you know, strategically and move appropriately. That's what these athletes should be doing. By going back to, you know, work and going back to basketball, I think they're telling America what they value. You know, ball is life. And I kid you not, I don't think I can ever support the NBA again if they do that. And not because like because I love basketball more than so many people, you know. And I gave fucking 15 years to this game. You know what I mean? Coaching and training, and then also training for myself and playing. Like, I gave so many years to this game. And my thing is like, if it was me in that position, I'd feel like going back to work would be one of the most disrespectful to my skin color ever. You know, I can never look myself in the mirror and go, when all this bullshit was going on, I wasn't trying to help people be calm. I wasn't trying to, you know, walk in that protest. What I was trying to do was keep my body in shape so I can get back to play this game. And then my kids are going to look at me and go, Dad, well, when this happened, all you did was play basketball. Because that's literally what it is. Fuck the money. Fuck, you know, going to Florida, this and that. I feel like these NBA players are starving to get back into the game more than they are to create social equality. And that's an issue.
So you're more on Kyrie and Dwight's side about the whole thing about
and
the
you know
NBA.
what's crazy about that? I think if any two players, you look at those two, right? Kyrie, NBA champion, he left, you know, the safety of the Cleveland Cavaliers, because that was a safety net. He had possibly the greatest player, second greatest to me, but the greatest player to ever played a game, and he had a team that I'm sure they could have developed into a great team. You know what I mean? And he left that team to go, you know, fight in another fight to see if he can do it without the safety net. And injuries and this and that. And you'd think that he'd want to pursue going back, because right now is the best time to get that ring. I won't say that it's the easiest time, but it's the best time, because the momentum of, you know, basketball has now shifted and everybody's starting from square one. And he got Dwight. Dwight had to deal with people calling him the biggest bust in the NBA sports history. You know, because when he came in, he was just like supposed to be this monster and this and that. And he was a monster, but he never got anything to show for it. So you'd think he'd want to hurry up and get back, because like I said, everybody's at this blank slate. But no, they take the mind off the trophy, because they realize that trophy in the NBA is not as big as the trophy of freedom. You know what I mean? They're just like, damn, I want equality for my kids, for my family, for my people. NBA will always be there. But when all this is over, I want to be able to say that I helped fight for the equality. I'm definitely on the side of not playing. And I did not know that those two were like that articulate. Like, I knew Kyrie like said some things, you know, he knew some things, but I didn't know that he was like such a powerhouse the way he is. Him and Colin Kaepernick.
The highlight you just said right there, especially for Dwight Howard, I'm not going to say word for word, because I'm not going to remember word for word, but you said he'd rather have the title of freedom than have an NBA title.
Yeah.
That's probably the most important thing when it comes to the professional sports right now, is title of freedom over title of a professional sports league.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, he's probably battling himself for saying that. But at the end of the day, a championship is just a championship. Freedom is your entire life and the future of your life. And I think that was perfect that you said that, because that should be everyone's caption in professional sports.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, it's tough for me to say, because, you know, I'm a Laker fan, you know, they got a good shot this year. And I want them to win the championship this year, but then it's like, you got, if they were to win the championship, which I'm not saying they would, I'm just saying if they were, then it's like, damn, well, they put NBA and money first instead of this, and it's like, is it fair? No, but it's like you're gonna have those people that say that. But I mean, like you just said, title of freedom is better than title of the NBA, and that was perfect. You said that.
Yeah.
I want to shift into your music.
Okay.
You know, you just, I feel like you've been going back and forth with your music, but you've been consistent with it for about a year.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that one of your songs on your recently released album, "We My People."
Hey.
What's crazy is that song came out before all this happened.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because, like I said, that just shows that this has been going on for so long.
Yeah.
But I want to play your song right now. Let everyone hear it, and come back and talk about it as soon as it's done.
It's malicious, it boils me. They try to poison me, direct the sinning of royalty. Nappy headed and oily, ain't no riches could spoil me. All my niggas, no loyalty, keep my focus on life and catch me living it joyfully. I'm proud of me, that's how we gotta be. Yeah. Can't divide us, so they seduce us with a lottery. Trying to see us come together in society. Elevate today's generation and restore black camaraderie. Yeah. Ain't no apologies if things don't switch up. Can't change anything if we don't get up. Shut up, everyone see the bigger picture. Hold up, everyone.
And we're back. That whole song, I feel like, is a powerful message. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. How about you talk about it a little bit?
So with that song, so I used to be heavy into the church, right? I was in the church for a long time, and if you know anything about athletes, God and athlete go together like white on rice,
Mm-hmm.
And I had to step away from the church because when social issues were going on, like, for example, the Oscar Grant thing, and, people were passing away from injustice and cops and prison and all this other stuff that was going on. And it wasn't even just with my people directly. I grew up with a lot of Spanish, so, things like ISIS and stuff like that, when that started happening, I started feeling some type of way, but the church always had a way of not allowing me to voice my opinion, or because they were fearful that my opinion would turn away guests, newcomers. And so one day I had to appropriately leave the church, and when I left, I started realizing I had so much to say, and I had it bottled up for so many years. And that song, it came out because, you remember the declaration, "We the people."
Yeah.
But it wasn't we the people. It was we my people that were being slaughtered at the hands of injustice. So that's where that title comes from. The song itself, it came from just a place of, I guess, tiredness and readiness. Tired of being treated the way, we've been treated, but ready for change, and whatever that looked like. If I got to stay up and make signs for the next protest, I'll do it, as long as it's working towards the change. And a really good line in that I really love is the very first part. "I feel like I'm guilty for being the way that God built me." That part right there, for some reason, I used to always listen to it over and over and over, and I rewind it, literally 10 seconds in, rewind, 10 seconds in, rewind. And it's because, like, I couldn't understand, like, why do I feel like I'm, not worth it? Why do I feel less than because of the way that I was naturally made up? And then that question just resonated with me, and that song just became that question. And I wrote the song within 20 minutes. I had a lot more to it, but I wanted to cut it out, and I wanted an artist, Jay Givens, who I used to listen to when I was like 19. I'm 30 now. When I was like 19, I wanted him to, hear it, and he got on it, and he loved it. He killed it, and I just feel like we both really had a lot to say about the matter, and then we had so much more to say. I have a whole 45 seconds of verse still left from that song, but it plays into the anger rather than the why. It plays into the aggressive approach of, you know what, I'm coming through, with my 4.5. You know, I'm kicking the door down. I'm not taking this from cops. You know, I don't want to kill, but I'm not gonna live with being killed. You know what I mean? So it comes from a place of anger, and I didn't want to portray that in that particular song because the song was about unity. It was about, you know, elevating the mistreatment of the people, my people per se. So that song really just like touched base with me a lot.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, that's everything you said about that song is everything. Like everything you said about that song is spot on, and it's just so crazy to me how like I said before the song played that this song came out before everything that's going on in the world right now, and it just shows like how long this has been going on. But I want to talk about a couple lines you said. A couple lines you said. I hear them say, "Go back to Africa, you ghetto ass niggas. You can't push us out, so they push upon a trigger." Explain that.
So you know, go back to Africa could be interpreted so many ways, but that actually was a situation I was in when I was 12, and basically, so I'm riding my bike, and I got a hoodie on. I'm coming back from like basketball practice, so I got my gym bag around my neck and my shoulder, and all of a sudden, like I kid you not, I thought I got shot. Somebody shoots me with a paintball gun. My favorite jacket too, ruined the whole thing. Shoot me with a paintball gun 3 times in my back. I fall off my bike, and all of a sudden I hear, "Go back to Africa, you ghetto ass." He didn't say nigga, but you know,
Yeah.
You ghetto ass. And I was just like, fuck, I don't even live in the ghetto at this point. You know, we moved out of the ghetto literally a couple days before. I've never been treated more wrong in anywhere than I was in the suburbs, you know? So that's where that line comes from. But then it also plays into, you know, just how people can be so cruel and, you know, go back to Africa. Why are you even from here? Why are you here? Go back to Mexico. You know, so many other things. And then you ghetto ass nigga. Can't push us out, so they push them on the trigger. So can't push us out refers to the sense of we here. Like it or not, I'm black. This is me. This is my temple. This is who I'm going to be no matter what. I can't just get white. Like, I don't get what you expect me to do. And I can't just go back to Africa. And then push upon a trigger. So that part talks about in the literal sense and the figurative. Literal sense being, can't push me out, so they're going to kill me. Figuratively, it could be, they're going to make it hard for me to live here. They're going to harass me. They're going to, you know, pursue me in a way that makes me want or feel like I need to leave this place before they kill me. So all those lines really just play into the literal and figurative.
I want to go off another line you said. Why I gotta work 3 jobs like a slave? Just gotta make it barely with the minimum wage. I gotta work for a man who never sees me the same.
Oh man, why I gotta work 3 jobs? So that was actually I've had 16 jobs in my life.
That's too damn much. Oof.
Yeah, 3 of those I got fired from. The rest, it was kind of like trial and error. You know, I knew that I just needed money, so I was willing to work, you know, at certain places where, you know, like Taco Bell and shit like that.
Yeah.
Then I got fired from some places, but it wasn't because, you know, I was a horrible worker. Because people will tell you I'm not a horrible worker. I work my ass off for the littlest thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will not take is, you know, inequality at a workplace, or I won't take, you know, unnecessary work. Why do I gotta work 3 jobs like a slave? Why do I gotta work 3 jobs at a minimum wage, 2 jobs at a minimum wage, just to barely make it in life? You know, when all I need is 1 job. But those 1 jobs aren't going to be given to me. I gotta earn those. And even when I do earn them, they still aren't given to me because somebody knows somebody. You know? I gotta work 3 jobs like a slave just to make it barely minimum. So I gotta work for a job who never see me the same. I gotta work for a man who never see me the same. Plays into bosses that I've had. So the 3 jobs where I got fired, all 3 bosses were very similar in a way. White, out of shape, they all talked about their wives in a way that like wasn't appropriate. Then they talked about other things that just wasn't appropriate, and they felt comfortable with me, and I'm okay with that. Like, feel comfortable with me, but don't disrespect, the morality of like your relationship just to be cool, And these men would like try to basically run me. They'll try to like manipulate me. They'll try to, hey Mike, you don't have to stay, but I need somebody to stay. And like, he has a family, he's going somewhere after this. Like, I don't really think you have anything going on, And then I even had one guy try and do something like that, and he knows that, at this point I was training or I was going to school. So all you have is school. You can miss school, right? And I'm just like, what? Like, no, I can't just stop what I'm doing because you need somebody to stay. We'll either pick it up tomorrow or you can stay. And I remember the very first job. One day I decided, okay, you know what? I'll stay. He decided to leave while I was doing a job that he asked me to do. And I just thought about it, and I'm just like, this is not a good leader. So technically I say I got fired, but really I just stopped showing up because I didn't want that. So if he's not gonna look at me as an equal, if he's not gonna see me the same as him, then I don't want anything to do with him, because I know that when I'm in my levels of management and whatnot, I look at everybody the same. I do the same work just as everybody. I'm fair. I want to be fair because that's how you build the best team, is by being fair. If he's going to run 7 suicides and I'm going to run 7, maybe 8 suicides, I might go above and beyond just because I am that manager. So it's just really like, it talks about the unnecessary inequality that goes on with the workplace. And it's not necessarily due to race, but in my experience, race was involved. So
yeah, I've always, when it comes to working, like, I've always hated to, like, someone telling me what to do.
Yeah.
And that's, I wouldn't say it's led me to getting fired, because I never gotten fired before, but it's led me to not get certain things that I want when it comes to, let's say, trying out for a basketball team or just etc. Like, I don't kiss ass.
You ever had this is my favorite one. Oh, you're young, like, I put my time in.
I don't like.
You do it. You break your back. I hurt my back that way. I literally hurt my back from like doing something because somebody said, "Oh yeah, you're young. You can handle this." Like, I don't want to do it. Like, what? Nah.
Yeah, I've done that so many times, hurting my body when it comes to all that type of stuff. But thankfully I've matured to where, like, alright, like, I gotta get this money. If I want to get where I want to get in life, I just gotta suck it up. If it means I gotta do something I don't want to do for a little bit, that I got to. But I'm also not gonna be talked to as if you're talking down on me.
Right.
I feel like that's just disrespectful.
Right.
Thankfully, my boss right now doesn't do that to me.
Yeah.
Other people have, though.
Yeah.
But I've matured to a point where just let it go. Like I said, if I want to get somewhere where I want to go, I gotta just suck it up. Not like, yeah, to suck it up. And I don't. That's something that I could say I a lot better than when I was 20.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about more about your music.
Okay.
Why music?
Oh man. So my mom used to ground us all the time, and I fell into the arts that way. Music, just got creative with playing with toys and creating these scenarios, and then from scenarios I went to art, and I kept trying to draw my toys, and then from there I kept trying to make storylines. So I was writing, and then fast forward to high school.
Mm-hmm.
High school we had a studio. And the studio was dope. It was the best thing I've ever seen at that age. and it was a legit studio. They created everything from scratch, and they brought in a guy who was like a tech guy. He knew what he was talking about. His name was Art, and Art brought in this guy named John Gilchrist. I'll never forget him. And at this point, I had already made some songs with Art. Art was a dork about his craft, so he loved it, and he loved being the guy who mixed it, and this and that, and he taught me a lot. And then John Gilchrist comes in, and he goes, freestyle for me. I'm like, man, I don't even think freestyle is possible. Like, I suck, this and that. And he, like, took me back, and he was like, okay, well, let me freestyle for you. Freestyle killed that. And I know it was a freestyle because he was talking about everything in the room, from my shoes to this to that, you know? And then I started realizing, I was like, dang, that's talent. You know, I want that, you know? Not that I want it to be him, just like I want it to be on that level where I feel that comfortable. And then he challenged me. He goes, can you make a song without cussing? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. It took me 3 months before I made that song. You know what I mean? I was just like, man, it was the hardest thing ever. And then I called him back, and we kind of discussed it a little bit, and we kind of just fell off. It felt like he was the person who came into my life to teach me that moment, you know? Mm-hmm. And from there, I just always looked at music as that challenge. You know, that was where, like, I feel like I had so much potential in, but I can never reach that because I was never focused down on it. And for years since high school, I was telling people, man, I'm going to put out an album. Never did. Never put out songs, anything like that. And then I left music to pursue basketball. Basketball got injured, still pursued basketball. And then, you know, I'm in the church, and I want to make the music I want to make, where I cuss and this and that. But I feel like it's wrong because, you know, this conviction of church and this and that. And I'm just like, 2019 comes, and all of a sudden, the N-word comes into my mind. I'm just like, the N-word is not a bad word. It's not a curse word. So why am I not saying this word? You know, it was meant to elevate people, and then it got distorted to demean my people. So it's like, I can still use that word, you know? Mm-hmm. You my nigga. That's me saying, like, I love you. You my partner. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, like, I thought about all the other words, and I was like, you know what? The Bible doesn't say anything about any of this. And then I stopped living my life according to the text of the Bible. And not saying, like, I'm just sinning and this and that. I keep the morale, because the morale is good no matter what. Universally amazing. Be a good person is basically what it says. But living my life by, like, that standard, that impossible standard that nobody can fill, that's where I was just like, you know what? That's not going to be me. So fast forward to 2020, I got all these songs, and I want to put out an album. And I could never answer that question as to why music until I have 5 new songs that I just recently made, and they talk about, speak directly to this movement. And I realized that music, because people need to be led by something with good quality. And I need to get that out of me. I feel like I have so many gems, so much free game inside of me that I need to let out. And it comes out the best through music. So that's why music.
What's your favorite song out of all the songs you've made? Released, unreleased?
There's 2 of them. Okay, not including these new ones that I just did. One of my favorites is the video that's coming soon, which is Throwback. That one's one of my favorites because I feel like it definitely hits home with me, especially me personally. Mm-hmm. It talks about, you know, there's breakup songs, there's I cheated songs, this and that, but nobody ever talks about that song or that moments of the breakup where you're still in the relationship and you're slowly breaking up. The torturous effect of that slow breakup is what Throwback is about. So that's why, like, I really love that song, is because, like, it's kind of like, it reminds me that, like, I went through something, you know, went through something real. And so there's a testimony to that.
It's a great song, by the way.
Thank you. And then another one is, it's kind of a toss-up between Me, We, My People, and then They Can't See Me. Both talk about similar issues, I think it'll be They Can't See Me, and the reason why They Can't See Me is literally because of that one line. How you got a badge when you really need some therapy. Like that part right there, for some reason, it really sticks out to me. So like, it's such like a great way because it literally speaks to the underdeveloped policing that we have in society, which plays into everything that we've been talking about. So those two would probably be my favorites.
I think one of my favorites from your album was Don't Judge Me.
Don't judge me, man.
Because, I relate to a lot of what you said in that song.
Those are true stories, too.
See, and that's what's great about this album is, besides him being a lyrically great rapper or just artist, he speaks the truth. Everything that he's saying in his music, I feel like it actually happened. And then when I'm trying to relate, I can relate to a lot of the stuff that happened in your music. Not the exact, but that's why I feel like I can listen to your album and just be like, damn, that happened to me. I feel the struggle. You're not alone, etc., etc. So I mean, I probably listened to that song on repeat a lot. Throwback, that's one of my favorites too. With My People, I mean, just the whole album. It's great.
It'll be in the video.
Which one?
Don't Judge Me.
Hey, I'm there.
I need somebody for that second verse, so I got you.
What's next?
Let's see. So it's called. So I was in the middle of. So I have this whole idea of my albums, right? The first one's Adamas. I'm a diamond. This is who I am. Mm-hmm. That's what that, the introduction. That's what that was saying. But then, like, I got 3 other tag along albums, and basically what it's gonna say is, I am who I am, Adamas. And then it was gonna be like a in my element type of album. Like, this is who I am in my element. And I had all these albums lined up, and then I broke them all into 3 albums. So it's I Am, and that's going to speak to the future. Adamas, that's going to speak towards, like, the past, right? Because that's past.
Right.
And then Element, and that speaks to the current, who I am now. And so I have this whole idea of it, and they're going to be, like, albums that directly go into each other. But then all this, like, injustice started happening. Floyd happened, and I got silent, and I literally could not. Like, I went into the studio, and I butchered the whole session. 4 songs, I just did not do well, and it wasn't because like I sucked or anything. It was strictly because I had my heart was heavy. I just couldn't get it out, and then so I needed to take that break. I needed to just really revamp myself, and just educate myself, and just really just like basically sleep. Take a rest, take a break, because I just put my album out, and then in the midst of all this, I just literally in 2 days I have 11 songs written right now in 2 days, and I just stopped working on the other albums completely, and I'm making this it's another album, but you can call it EP, whatever, and it's basically 11 songs, and it speaks into today so heavily. Like, it speaks to today in more ways than We My People. So when I was writing it, I didn't really understand why I was writing it. I didn't have beats to write it to. I just wrote it, and then later on, I just added the beats to the songs, and they just go so perfectly. It was almost like it was God sent, and it explains all those emotions that I couldn't explain when all this first started. So I have the song that brings out the anger. I have the songs literally, like, when I'm writing this, I have the songs that like really bring tears in my eyes. It talks about like the fact that we have a Breonna Taylor, the fact that we have a Tamir and George and all this stuff, and then it plays into like the excitement of today, which is damn, like how that little girl said it. Damn, Daddy changed the world. Like, that right there. If that doesn't bring you to your fucking tears of your eyes and make you like just thankful, you know, like this next one is gonna be so crazy. And I just recorded 4 songs. A 5th one was for a friend of mine, but I just recorded 4 songs, and I'm satisfied. Like, I'm legit satisfied. And you know what's crazy? I think the reason why I resonate with like this whole movement so much, and it's not because I'm black, like that's automatic, but a friend of mine, she told me that I wasn't black enough, you know, and not like, you know, I was trying to get at her, you're not black enough, but like she was saying like I didn't elevate my culture enough, and I took offense to that, and not from her, but like just like, damn, Mike, it made me revamp myself and rethink, like, damn, Mike, what are you doing? Like, do you love yourself, your culture, your skin? And it really allowed me to like really rethink and resurface with the fact that I do love being black, you know? And then that's why like all this stuff hit me so hard, was because I thought back to what she said. So that's what's next. Good things coming.
Can't wait.
Videos.
Can't wait. You want to go ahead and say anything you want to say last, and plug whatever you want to plug?
Follow me on Instagram, BLK_2. Don't be strangers. Like, comment, DM, whatever. All you hoes, don't slide in my DMs, please.
I want to thank y'all for listening. This is the end of episode 1 of Stutter Step Podcast. This will be a weekly thing, hopefully. But thank you for listening, and catch you later.